Right, let's do a mini tutorial on how to make one of these granny squares. We have 4 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, with a white and then a single crochet border, ready to put 2 squares together, which we'll do in the next mini tutorial. So I'm using a 4mm hook today. You can use a 3 or a 3.5 or a 4. I don't know about 4.5. We have our yarn needle with the big eye and a little pair of scissors. I'm using a variegated yarn that is from Abbey Road. It is called Because I'm Happy, and the colorway is Blissful. And so it's got these long color changes. Another good yarn to use would be your Red Heart stripes, but you would use a bigger hook. You'd probably use a 5 or a 5.5 for the Red Heart stripes. So we have that one with the center pull, which I'll put to the side. We also have our Anko white, also 8 ply, and put that to the side. Now both of these are a thinner yarn, and most of the time you'll notice with the striping yarns or variegateds they will be just that slightly thinner than the normal 8 ply yarns. So we're going to start with our colored yarn, and we'll be doing a magic ring. So we start with the palm of your hand up, then I hold the string, turn your hand over and make an X. There you go. An X with the yarn, and just hold it with your pinky. You will then, with your palm this way, get your hook. You grab the yarn and you put it under. You need to twist it so you can pick it up. And then you'll grab this top yarn and pull it through the loop. And then you will have this. So then you're going to have, you turn it on its side like this. So we have the loop. We've got the loop where the hook is. And then I just get this end and I pull it. So we've got like this. We've got the loop where our hook is. We've got the working yarn off to the side. We've got the end of the yarn over here, and the loop is here. And then when we pull on the end of the yarn, it will make the loop smaller. You can also pull on it again, and it makes the loop bigger. So we're going to pull on the loop and make it about that big, size of a 10-cent piece if you're in Australia. And so this is not counted as a stitch. We've just made the loop. So sometimes you will chain 2, but I'm just going to chain 1, and we're not going to count that as any stitches. And we're going to make all our stitches into the loop, making sure we go in the loop as well as under the tail. So we're going to be doing double crochet. So for double crochet, we need to yarn over, and then we're going to hold the loop kind of like this, like pinch it down the bottom to make it easy to work with, and then pull through. So you have 3 loops on your hook. Pull through those 2 and pull through those 2. So we pull through twice. That's 1 stitch. Ignore that one there. Yarn over, and we're still pinching down here. Pull through, pull through. There's 2. Yarn over, pull through, pull through. This is our first 3 cluster of double crochet. 1, 2, 3. That is our chain. Then we're going to chain 1 between each cluster, and we're going to do 4 clusters. So that was 1, 1, 2, and now you can start holding it here. 3, double crochet, and a chain between your cluster. 1, 2 clusters. You can bring the loop in a little bit more and pinch it down here. We're just going to make sure that we keep going over those two so that when you pull the loop, it will close. So 1, 2, 3, makes another cluster, 1 chain, but 1, 2, 3 clusters, 1 more to go, and you could hold it down here now. 1, 2, 3, all done. Now just pull on here only and hold it here gently and close the loop till there's nothing left. Later on, when we do our ends, we'll have to make sure it's really tightly closed, but that is fine. And then here at the top of the chain, not that one, we're going to put our hook under these two, pull through and pull straight through. That is a slip. Then we're going to just chain 1 and turn it over. So we're going to pause there. I'm just going to check my footage. Turning between each round is going to make sure that it doesn't start curling up. So that is optional. Okay, I just checked my footage and I saw that it was blurry, so just on this last bit. And I also, so we've got our 4 clusters, 1, 2, 3, 4. I also forgot to put a chain here. It's not a big deal, don't panic, but it's going to make it easier to see when we turn. So here, that's the top of our last 1, 2, 3. That's that chain that we don't even worry about. Through those 2 loops, slip, chain, turn. So now we can see where we left the 1 chain. There is a space, and we're going to create corners from there. So these will be our 4 corners. And how we do our corners is we're going to put 2 lots of 3 double crochet clusters. So if you didn't catch the double crochet before as well, here we go. Some people chain 2 here. I just do the 1 chain to turn. I don't think you notice. So yarn over into that hole where we left the 1 chain space, grab the yarn, 2 loops, 2 loops, and that's how you remember it's a double, because there's 2 lots of 2 loops. So that's 1 stitch, 2, 3, there's 1 cluster, 1 chain, another cluster, 1, 2, 3, that is a corner. 2, 3, lots of 3 double crochet with 1 chain in there. Now when we go to the next corner, no chain in between. This will just keep everything really nice and close together. So you do end up with holes, but there's actually no chain here. When you put the chain in, it gets really holy. So this is like still holy, but nice. So we're going to put a 2 lots of 3 doubles clusters with a chain in between into each of these 4 corners. We'll do 1 more together and then I'll speed it up. Okay, 1 cluster, chain, 1, 2, 3, no chain. 3 chain, 3 no chain. Okay, 3 1 chain, 3 no chain. We're going to slip, so it's easiest to count backwards, so we know we've got a hole here. So 1 2 3 double crochet, and there's a little plait here, go into the top of that plait. Slip, which you just go through the loop, 1 chain, turn. Okay, I'll just check my footage and we'll go back to the next round. Okay, we have now completed 1 2 rounds. We only need to do 2 more. Now, you can see that we now have 4 corners, each with the 2 lots of 3 double crochet clusters. There is a chain in between each corner. There is no chain on the sides. So we're now going to work a stitch into each kind of like big hole. So there's 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. So 1 on each corner and 1 in between. And so we're just going to start straight away with our double crochet cluster. So 3 stitches into here. And remember, the only time we are putting a chain in between clusters is on the corner. So no chain as we go into the corner. But now that we are in the corner, we will put our chain in between these 2 clusters. As we move to the hole in the side, no chain. So you just go straight into your yarn over. And you see, even though there's no chain, there's a hole there. Some people do 2 chains and it just makes it extremely holy. No chain as we go to the corner. Only when we're in the corner will we chain. But I think if you do make it super holy, you might get a nicer drape. 1 chain, we are in a corner. So just experiment with it, see what you like the best. Same with turning. I found that I really needed to turn so that my work did not curl. Then we're moving into a side, no chain, just a cluster. So practice makes perfect. No chain as we go into the corner. One chain because we are in the corner. No chain to go to the side. No chain as we go into the corner. One chain between the clusters of the corner. And guess what? We've made it back to the start. And when we get here, we just slip stitch 1, 2, 3. Just this last little top stitch here under the two plait bits. Slip, slip, chain. And you could give it a little tug. Turn. And so now we have 1, 2, 3 rows. Last round of colour, and then I'm going to show you something tricky. So now, let's have a look. We're going to have each corner where we do our 2 lots of 3 clusters and 1 chain in between. Now we have 2 spaces on each side where we will make 1 cluster with no chain in between. So let's go. So 1 cluster with no chain, still corner, and I just I pinch my work close to where I'm working, just like I was in the loop, and that is how I keep my tension nice and firm. And I loop my working yarn over my finger so it's easy to grab with my hook. Okay, there's a cluster with the chain, no chain, as we do our next 2 clusters in the holes. So you can see how it gets really fast because you're just going into the holes. You're not having to go into the tops of stitches. Do 3, no chain. 3, no chain. Corners. Oop, split the yarn. That's okay, just go back and get it. And a chain in between because we're in the corner. I think when we go to the next round, no chain because we're doing the side. I'll show you how I'm holding my yarn because I think it's pretty efficient. It's just something that I developed by myself over time with practice and trying to get fast and get my tension even. And I think granny squares is a great way to practice your double crochet, practice your tension, because if you can get your square to lay flat, then you know you can get your tension right. So we're on a corner, so we just put a chain in between the 2 clusters. No chain for the sides, just clusters. I just love the color of this yarn, it's so pretty. I'm obsessed with striping yarns, so you get excited to see what color it's going to look like. And I haven't sped this footage up. We're in the corner again. So we will be putting the chain in between clusters, and guess what? We're nearly back to the start. And then that's it. That's all of our color. The next row will be white. And I'll show you how I'm holding my yarn and stuff, because I think that's a pretty good tip. 1, 2, 3. No more holes. So let's go 1, 2, 3. Top of that. Boop. Slip, slip. Now, okay, not going to chain. We're going to cut. Now, the biggest thing that I've learned is don't be skimpy on your tail. So leave a big tail. So we've got room to sew it in later. So fairly big. And we normally like do that next chain and turn. Just pull it all the way through. Now, I learnt this from TL Yarn Crafts. Is a standing double crochet. So let's turn so we're on the right side. Now when I do this is our ending yarn. I like to just turn it so that's not going to be immediately in the way, and I think that'll be good for beginners so you don't get confused. So you can see all our holes, we've got the corners, and we got 1, 2, 3 in between. And as you grow your blanket, you'll have more in the sides, and just keep your corners where they are. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. See how your magic circle can open up? You can just pull it tighter. Later on, we're going to knot that and weave in the ends. So back to this side. Now, how I hold my yarn is I have it like this. So I'm holding with these fingers, and then I've got it over the top of this finger. Then I still have these 2 fingers that I can hold this with. And then I'm holding my hook and I'm holding the working yarn over here. So once it goes through the hole, you can see I can pull this to change the tension. And it's also here for me to grab yarn. The yarn is always just right here. Okay? So to start this off though, for the standing, I just wrap this around my hook like 3 or 4 times. And I hold it on there with this finger. So I'm holding my hook with my hands, and I'm just holding the yarn on there like that. The tail's at the end. So then I pick up my square with these guys. This is going to hold the yarn, and then it drapes over that finger there. But that finger hasn't got a hold on to it. It just goes over the top of it. And so to make it tighter, I will pull it through these ones, and it's just sitting on top. So we already have a yarn over. Then we put it through the hole. We grab the yarn, pull it through, and we're going to go through 2 loops. Let some loops off, and 2 loops. Boom. Now we can release this yarn. And that's it. We've done a double crochet that is standing up already. And so yeah, I just like to start somewhere along the side. You could start in the corner, and that way usually you would chain 2. That way we don't have to chain 2. We also could have done it as a color change, but it also means that you can start in the corners, which is sometimes nice. So how many? We've done 1, 2, 3. And so 3 double crochet clusters into each stitch. Corners have 2 with the chain in between, and I'll see you back when I do that round, just before I finish it. Alright, we're back. We did a cluster into each side with no chain, our 2 clusters with a chain in each corner, and we've come all the way around. Again, just 1, 2, 3 through this little braid up here, and that one, and that one. Slip, slip, chain. This is our last round, so we're going to turn. We're going to do a single crochet into each of these holes. So each hole you go through, you should only be able to see, like, it looks like a plait to me, like two loops and your hook. So we're not going in here, we're going into these holes. See, there's like a hole and like 2 things, and from the top down, it's the 2 stitches like that. You can see them now. I've made them a bit bigger. And not just one, that's a front loop. You got to go through 2 loops. Okay, and so the single crochet, so this is where we stopped. See, there's a hole there and there's a hole there. We're not going into these big holes anymore. So through here, no yarn over, just straight through. And then we just go through 2 loops once. So that's a single. See? Through the hole, grab the yarn, through 2 loops once. through this hole, grab the yarn, through. Now, we're going to come to a corner, which is our chain. We are going to go into this hole. See that? There's a hole, and then there's this hole here where we want to do the single crochet. See that there? But this is like our gap hole there. And I'm going to do 3. 1, 2, 3 single crochet. No, that's a lie. I'm going to go into this hole, because now we've done the 3, we've covered that hole up. So go into here, which is the top of this double crochet. And we're going to go into each and every hole. So you can look from the side like that, or you can look from the top. And just make sure that you're going through 2 loops, bring the yarn through, go through those 2 loops. So yeah, I think I prefer to look from the side because I can see what I'm looking for. But I think when I first started out, I would go from the top and make sure I just had those 2. You can see those 2 loops. Ugh, there. You see that plait? Yep. And these are our singles. So go all the way to the end again. Just take your time. These singles are going to help us to put the squares together. Yeah, so all the way to the top of this loop, top of that stitch. 1, 2, 3. And then 3 by going into the hole for the corner. 2, 3. The next stitch is the hole at the top of the 1, 2, 3rd cluster. Let's see where we are. This is, the tension's a little funny there. And let's go across the side. Yeah, I definitely prefer to look from the side, but I think when I was learning, I used to look from the top. Up to you, see what it makes more sense for you. Our last stitch is the top of this one. 3 into that corner hole. The next stitch is the hole where this double crochet is. See? And across we go. You can see I hold my work really close. I feel like that gives you the best tension. Up to you though, practice with what you feel is comfortable and works for you. And this row is probably going to take you a little bit longer because you need to concentrate and get your hook into those holes. You know, the smaller holes, not the bigger holes. And making sure you're getting both loops. Whoop. Then 3 into the corner hole. Last corner. Then again, the top of that 3rd stitch. And when we get back to the start, we slip and finish off. The start's about halfway along here. So keep going, you'll see where it gets taller, just there. So that's sort of where we started. You can see your tail is there. And I think just one more here and then we'll slip into there. Don't have to get too crazy about it. It's just easy to slip to there. Boom, that looks good. So again, we slip, leave some tail, and then pull it through like you're going to do a chain. Then, boom, your square is finished. So I'm going to end this tutorial here, and then we will do another tutorial on how to sew all your squares together next, and that will include our weaving in the ends. So let me know how you go with it. You could tag me on Instagram if you start making some granny squares. I'd love to see what you make, or give me a comment if you go well or if you have trouble with anything. And I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe if you like what you see, and check out these other videos.